Everyone, and welcome to the February 2023 Special Ed Department meeting. I hope this video finds you having a great week and hopefully staying a bit warm. And I just wanted to express some appreciation for your patience as I got the agenda out this month. It's been a little bit crazy, so it took me a little bit longer than I hoped, but I'm getting this to you in a few days before the in-person meeting starts, so hopefully you have plenty of time to review the content. Jumping right in, we have a few items for you this month. Wanted to start by circling back to behavior support plans, providing some updates and some guidance. So we've had some changes, as you know, with our BSP template, and at the same time have started to shift to SpEd Forms 2.0. So now we have these two versions of the system we can operate in. And both of those changes has impacted the ways that BSPs have traditionally been developed. And there was a little disclarity regarding BSP template access in SpEd Forms 1.0 versus 2.0. And since not all staff have switched over to 2.0, we wanted to clarify. Again, you don't need to be in 2.0. That's an option that you have. And when I checked recently, it looks like most of our staff are still in the 1.0 version. So this conversation feels timely and important. So when we first started switching to 2.0, it was communicated to us by SpEd Forms that the new BSP template would only be available in SpEd Forms 2.0. So that is what we communicated to you. However, we've since learned that the BSP template's actually available in 1.0 and 2.0 versions of SpEd Forms. So it doesn't matter which one you're in, you can access the BSP. So just to show you, I temporarily shifted my SpEd Forms back to 1.0. I've been working in 2.0, but wanted to show you this. So if I'm in my student Fakerson and I go to those IEP or those forms, down to IEP, you can see the BSP is right here, and it's that same template that you'll find in 2.0. So you can get in here and develop it just like you would in that newer version. So just wanted to show that to you really quickly. If you need more guidance about the BSP, we have lots of guidance on CMR. So you can head to that BSP page on CMR, which you'll find under the IEP heading. And under Go-To Tools, you'll see several tutorials about getting that BSP into the new version, into that new template. So feel free to reference back to those. There's some other helpful guidance and FAQs there for you as well. One of the things that we wanted to talk about is that this shift to the new template in SpEd Forms, while it's increased clarity and efficiency, teams can no longer collaborate on BSP development like they could when the template was in a Google Doc. So that has, presented a little bit of a challenge and changed the way we work. Despite not being in a Google Doc like it was, teams still have to collaborate, though, on developing and revising BSPs. And we really need to make sure that we're providing opportunities to leverage the collective knowledge, skills, expertise, and perspectives of the whole team. That includes school psychs, case managers, related service providers, and other relevant team members. So everyone needs to have the opportunity to provide input. So just thinking about that in your team and thinking about the best way to do that so that work isn't all falling on one person and that we're not missing those valuable perspectives. So perhaps you want to take a portion of your IEP meeting to project the BSP and work through it that way as a team, or perhaps you want to bring together a small number of team members from the school team to draft that BSP, maybe scheduling a brief meeting, projecting that up on a screen, something like that. Talk about that in your own teams. Think about what works best for you, but making sure that we're really sharing in that development and getting all of those perspectives represented in the plan. All right, wanted to follow up with you about CIMP as well. So CIMP reviews have been completed. They were completed the week of the 18th, 19th, and 20th of January. So we're really excited to get that done. And we still remain committed to implementing a CIMP process that results in you as special educators receiving meaningful feedback on your special ed paperwork and the plans that that paperwork represents. It's really our goal that CIMP as an experience is supportive and positive, and that it equips you with tools to continually improve your practice, because we can all continue to improve our practice for our students with disabilities. So here's what's happening next. Principals are going to receive their district, building, and your individual CIMP reports during the school leader meeting on February 14th. And at that meeting, I'll share with the principals, the overall results of CIMP. I'll give them some guidance on sharing out those results with you. And then they will bring those back to the building and individually distribute those to each of you. You'll then have the opportunity to review your CIMP feedback, consider any feedback you need clarified, anything you have questions about, or maybe there's something in there that you'd like some assistance with in how to apply it to your practice. And if that's the case, there's several people you could reach out to get that support or get that clarification. So you could reach out to the services coordinator who supports you most frequently. You could reach out to your special services supervisor, or you could reach out to any colleague, your mentor, or your school psychologist to kind of talk through that feedback. Just because they're not the ones that necessarily gave you the feedback doesn't mean that they couldn't provide support or clarity in that process. So just kind of take a look at that and think about what works best for you. Then in April at the department meeting, I'll bring forward some of the themes that we found in the CIMP results and some potential next steps in responding to those themes, just as we're giving you feedback to improve your individual practice at times or validate the practice that you're already doing. We at SpEd are also taking this feedback to inform our practice and how we can improve in providing guidance and support and resources. So I'll bring that forward in April. And then before you get your feedback, I just want to remind you that your CIMP results are one piece of feedback on one file within the context of a much larger scope of practice. Your CIMP results do not define you as a special educator, and it's just one other data point to kind of indicate how things are going, strengths, areas for growth, etc. Just like we don't make decisions about our students on one data point, we're doing the same thing here where we're just recognizing that this is a piece of feedback in the scope of your much larger practice. So I encourage you to celebrate successes in the feedback that you get and then carefully consider those opportunities for growth. And we're just asking for a growth mindset. That's really the goal here, that we're all using this information to learn and grow as a system. Wanted to circle back with you also on database decision making. So we are finished with sessions number 3 and number 4. And that's really exciting. So we're halfway through our year-long plan. And that on-site learning and support is being provided in an effort to continue to enhance our ability to make those database decisions. And the remaining 2 sessions, session 3, which actually is kicking off today in some buildings, and session 4, those are going to both focus on intensifying interventions. So session 3 will be offered in February and March. And the activity in that session is really going to focus around processing through the resource and the steps that you want to follow when making database decision making with a fake student. The purpose of that is just to make sure that we all are clear on the resources, clear on the guidance, approaching this with kind of that same mindset for a fake student. And then in session 4, we're going to take that learning and apply it to one of your students. So a real student you serve who perhaps isn't making adequate progress and who may be in need of their interventions being intensified. So in order to set everyone up for success for that, a couple of things that we're asking. One of the things that we found during CIMP is that we're still not quite there with our goal of having progress monitoring graphs and data into SpEd Form, or not SpEd Forms, I'm sorry, into eduCLIMBER for IEP goals by December 31st. We just have a ways to go yet. So want to make sure that you're finding some space to get that task accomplished and enter in that progress monitoring data for the students that you serve. So we want the intervention set up, not just the monitor, and that data entered so that when you get to that session, you're fully equipped to engage in the learning and increase your own capacity. You can add phase lines if that's what's needs to happen. And not just for that database decision-making training, but making sure that we're getting that those graphs and the data entered is going to set that student up for success next year and as they continue through their IEP. So please find time to do that. If your team or you as an individual are still having difficulty getting your intervention set up in eduCLIMBER or getting your data entered into the system, please work with your SSS and building administrator to develop a plan, and we'll come alongside and give you some support. I really appreciate your efforts here. I know that this has been a lot of work. For many of you, you're building this up from the ground up. And so we're just so grateful for your efforts here and still committed to coming alongside and providing the support that you need. Okay, next is some updates with assistive technology. So we have an assistive technology committee at SpEd. And they've been looking into some of our data to try to figure out where are we at with AT implementation. As you might recall, we are federally required to consider AT for all of our students who have disabilities. We have to consider that at least annually. And if a student is needing support in accessing the general curriculum or support in making progress on their IEP goals, AT really needs to be strongly considered. When we looked at the data, we found that about 33% of our students have yes checked on their IEP for using assistive technology. And our guess is that more students than that would benefit from AT. And we also believe that you as educators are using AT all the time and may not even know that the tool that you're using to provide your students that support would be considered AT. So the AT committee is committed to continuing to support that implementation across SpEd. Through building awareness about AT, providing access to a wide range of AT products, and providing a variety of professional learning opportunities targeted at AT consideration, AT evaluation, and then utilization of that AT equipment or tools. So starting in February, we will be highlighting an assistive technology campaign in our social media. We're really excited about that. It's called Where You At, a clever play on AT. And the purpose here is to showcase the amazing use of assistive technology throughout our member districts. So the AT committee, members of that committee are going to be coming into the districts, tapping people on the shoulder saying, hey, that's a great use of AT. Can I feature this tool or you using this with your student on our social media platform? They're going to take pictures and videos and then create posts around that AT use. What you can do is when you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you see one of these posts, you can engage. And if you engage by liking the post, commenting on the post, sharing the post, you're going to be entered in a monthly drawing to win some fabulous prizes. We're going to start those drawings this month in February. And then there will be some larger, more grand prizes, if you will, drawn in the spring from everyone who participated in this monthly social media campaign. And if you are, you engaged at least once, you're entered. But the more you engage, the better. So more entries, the more you engage. Okay, what else did I want to say here? Oh, the other thing that I really wanted to note is that if you are proud of some AT work that you've done in your classroom or your program, and you want to feature that as part of the AT campaign, you can do that as well. You don't need to wait for an AT committee member to come and collect this information for you. So you can submit your photos, videos, or posts directly to us by emailing social media at scred.k12.mn.us. That email address is linked here. And your submissions will also be entered into the drawing for those fabulous prizes. And you'll see here on the agenda an example from one of our educators, Alyssa Nelson at North Branch Area High School. A newspaper had done an article about her and her students. And so she sent that to us and was great. So we were able to take that post and that article in the newspaper and feature it on our social media. So thanks, Alyssa. And please keep those posts coming in, whether they're related to this AT campaign or not. We'd love to see what you're doing and feature that on our social media. All right, 2 more items here for you. This one's just for those of you who are working in our middle schools or high schools or our transition programs. we have developed a new guideline, a new special ed guideline, guideline number 9, graduation and transition planning. We've had this guideline in the past and we've revised it substantially. These special ed guidelines are really useful when multiple stakeholders from different disciplines need to work together to meet our obligation under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. So, we use CMR for a lot of our guidance when it's the special ed team really working on that alone, how to write your paperwork, etc. But there's some things we do in special ed that require people who aren't directly working in special ed, like a guidance counselor or a principal, as is the case with Guideline 9. And providing these guidance really help put everybody on the same page and clarify those roles and responsibilities. So you can access the guideline here, or you can get it by going to our SpEd website. And we have several special ed guidelines on the website that you may not know are even there. And so if you go to special education and then you go to the section local special ed guidelines, you can see a variety of categories listed below with several guidelines. And if I click on student guidelines, that's where you'll find guideline 9. And as you look at some of these other guidelines, know that we are in a process of revising them, making them more clear, more streamlined. And we've done that with a few of our guidelines so far, but there's several that we still need to get to. And those will be updated over time. But this one is ready to go. So guideline 9 is right here for your review. We're very excited. We went through, as we do with our other guidelines, a very intentional stakeholder feedback process to make sure that this was in alignment with the needs, was appropriate, was clear. And so many of you who participated in the secondary transition day in August 2022 remember going through this. And we took your feedback, then we enhanced it, clarified, tweaked it, then brought it to the school leaders meeting and had them look at it as well. And we have landed on our final guideline and it's now ready for implementation. So what we're asking you to do is take some time to review the guideline individually or as a team. Some of you haven't been able to see this yet, so want to make sure everyone gets eyes on it. And note any questions, any differences from current practice, and needs for support. Then we're suggesting that you invite your school counselors and building administrators, both of whom play a role in this guideline, to a meeting to discuss the guidance and determine how best to implement it within your system. So think about an already existing structure, perhaps an SST meeting, your PLC, or if there's another naturally occurring opportunity for you guys to collaborate and figure out how to implement the guideline as it's written. And then we're going to be releasing some additional resources on CMR that help give examples for how to exactly document and develop these graduation plans once you start implementing the guideline. So really excited about these changes. As always, please let us know of your, any needs for support or needs for further clarity. But that is ready to go. And then last but not least, wanted to connect with you about professional learning moving forward. So we're already in the process of planning professional learning opportunities for the 2023-24 school year. And over the course of the last several years, we've had to really shift and pivot our professional learning plans several times to meet a number of unique needs and operate within the constraints of the pandemic. And as we continue to recover and restore our practice and move away from COVID-19 and its impact, we're really getting focused on that, our 4th strategic plan vision statement, which centers around our commitment to provide high quality professional learning informed by our stakeholder needs and reinforced through opportunities for supported application. So we've got some great ideas already in the works, but we really want to know what you need. And there's lots of ways that we can get at those needs. Some of the ways that we determine needs is through other data sources like our CIMP results, for example. But your direct impact or input is really valued. So we want to capture your input as we develop a plan based on your needs. So what we're asking is that you take just a few minutes to complete the 2023-24 SpEd Professional Learning Needs Survey. And then we're going to compile those results and share them out at a later date. So if you click on this link, just want to walk you through this form briefly, it's framed around the high leverage practices in special education, because there is oodles of research to show that when we engage in these practices, the more frequent these practices are observed in our classrooms, the better our students with disabilities do. And that's the goal. So you're going to enter your name, your district, you're going to select all the levels that you serve. If it's one, you'll just select one. If you serve across the spectrum, you'll click them all. Any service areas that you're serving in, you'll click those. And then you are going to go into each high leverage practice area and tell us your priorities. You're going to select a top, second, and third priority. Some of them only have 3 options, so you'll be limited to that, but others have more. And then when you're done prioritizing the topics, we want you to provide some specific examples about what you need in that area. So for example, here is the area of collaboration. If you want to learn more about collaboration, there's a brief description, but a link to a website that goes deeper on this high leverage practice for your reference. So you'll indicate that and then come down here and say, in the area of collaboration, what are the topics that you want? So maybe you're really struggling with collaborating with general ed teachers. I've heard this a lot this year, and how they implement IEPs in the classroom. So I would list that. Then I'm going to click next and go to the next HLP, which is assessment. Again, I'll rate 1, 2, 3, my top priorities, and answer here. So be as specific as you can. There's a couple additional questions at the end. We're really grateful for your feedback. It helps us do our job better. And that's what we have for you this February. So thank you for taking the time to review this agenda, perhaps listen to this video. Really continually grateful for all the work you do and how you are working with us to come together and do things better and different, more efficient over time. And so I'm just excited about the work that we've done to this point this year. And I'm really excited about the work that we're going to continue to do together. So with that, have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will talk with you all very soon. Thank you.